So a while since I've done a car video, and I'm taking the opportunity of an hour's drive up to Aircon to do this video. Absolutely beautiful morning at the end of April. Got a couple of appointments up there today, meeting with clients who have done their renewal. These appointments were booked 2 months ago, so it's important that we get there and meet them and get their renewals registered. But anyway, this video today, this has come from three things. So yesterday, talking to my colleague Jane, we went through a whole list of where I had just dumped ideas for videos into Google Drive and hadn't done anything with them. It was back in from 2020, and it made me realise that I'm not doing the recording. Just sometimes I just go, oh, I've got an idea of a video, get it out there, you know. And I should do more of that, really, to be honest, instead of worrying about doing it in a set, structured way, because all content's good content, and a lot of the time it's just my opinion. Also a conversation about what we should be preparing in terms of articles for the summer for people, and then with Lara, my wife, who also runs Upsticks Drive, talking to her about getting the kids ready, what paperwork we need and stuff like that. So that brought up a sort of a structure for end of spring, beginning of summer. What should you be doing now? If this is your first year here in Spain, then what should you be looking at? It's the beginning of May, you're going into summer, what should you be preparing? And it's all about life, really, rather than the paperwork side of things. Also, if you do watch this video, I would really, really, really appreciate it if you just let me know, if you have lived here for a while, what this time of year, what you were doing as well, in the comments below. So that always generates more ideas for content, and I can always put it on my weekly update as well, give you my opinion on that. I really, really enjoy the interaction and different people's opinions. There's no set structure for anybody, it's always different for everybody, their life in Spain. So the first thing is, and I did write a few notes, look, there you go. First thing is home. So what do you need to do at home now we're coming into the summer months? Well, a few things that we spoke about yesterday. First thing is air conditioning. We were in our business networking group. There's an air conditioning company, and you can guarantee that the time of year, the moment it goes from 22 to 30 degrees, boom, they're absolutely stacked. Because we all put the air conditioning on and it starts blowing out dead lizards and birds' nests. Maybe not quite that, but yeah, it's the end of April, it's starting to warm up. Don't leave it to the last minute to check out your aircon units and stuff like that, because you guarantee you won't be able to get anybody, and if you can't get anybody, it may be a little bit more expensive. So really now, preparing your house for summer, or wherever you live for summer, is essential. If you're planning on doing any painting, now is a really good idea to do it. Now, a good time. Obviously, check the weather, see if we've got any rain coming. But normally, this time of year it's not too warm, so the paint doesn't dry too quickly and crack. But we don't, sadly, now because we're in drought, we don't normally get much more rain now until the end of summer. And if we do, it's normally just a day and it goes. So everything, check the weather provisions, but painting would be a good idea if you've got any plans to do that. What else on the home front? Yeah, so if you've got a swimming pool, you're probably looking at getting that swimming pool now prepared for summer. And it's this year you could have a bit more of a problem depending on where you live, because we're not allowed to top up pools from the council water, basically. So my first advice would be, and this goes back to the end of last year, is try and maintain it over the winter. If that maintenance just means, now I'll just go tell you why I'm qualified to talk to you about this. That a couple of years ago we moved out into the country, and we were lucky enough to get a swimming pool at the place where we live. It's a very old pool. It's not, it only has one jet when it should have 4. It's slightly lopsided and has 2 inlets for the the filter, so it's a constant battle because it's far too big for the equipment we have to clean it. But it's been great because it's given me a huge learning curve about swimming pools. And the first thing is that this year you're not going to be able to top your pool up in many places using water from the city. Now, how they control that, I don't know. I know evidently there's drones checking for hose pipes, but at some pools you just flick a switch and water starts going in. Maybe the water uses, I know there's a lot of digital meters now, so if your water usage suddenly goes up by a few thousand cubic meters, they're going to know that you're topping your pool up. The first thing is you might need to find an alternative source of water for your swimming pool. Definitely maintain it in the winter, even if that just means chucking in far too much chlorine to keep the water clean, and then reducing that chlorine in the summer or spring is a good idea. And if not, I would definitely encourage that you don't hoover the bottom too much, because that wastes an awful lot of water in some circumstances. I found a fantastic product that everybody laughed at me in the Spanish swimming pool shop that I went to, and it's called Jolly Gel, and it's like a flocculant that goes in your filters. Basically you run your filter, and what it does is it gets all the particles in the water and pushes them through your filter. The filter then captures them. It's like a flocculant, flocculante they call it in Spanish, and then you can get rid of that by doing a rinse. I found that saved a lot of water. Now, so check those out on YouTube. I found them on YouTube. Spanish think they're absolutely just hilarious. It's just a stupid thing that English people use. I actually thought they work really well, a lot better than the standard flocculantes that we have here in liquid form. So yeah, getting your pool ready. Another bit of advice on the pool, and I'll stop talking about pools, but is don't be too precious about pools. See so many people are so precious they don't enjoy it. I understand that it can be hard work to clean and stuff like that. You know, if you want to maintain it crystal clean and, you know, the correct pH levels. I gave up with pH levels, I really did. I tested it once a month and that's it. You know, because every time I did it, it was like too red, then it was this and it was that, and oh dear. So now I just go, I think, well, it doesn't smell like a public swimming pool and looks clean enough, and no one's burnt their toes off yet, so we're fine. That's probably not the correct thing to say, so definitely make sure the pool is safe to swim in, you know, chemically wise, but yeah, common sense also comes into play as well. But don't be too precious. You know, it's, if you're having family over, they're bound to, you know, sit by the pool, maybe have too much sun cream on, and it can all be dealt with. There's so many people, don't get in the pool with that much sun cream on. It's like, oh, but the reason we moved is to enjoy life, isn't it? So we're coming up to a toll road now. My next point is barbecues. So yeah, barbecues. So I went through the toll road there. Barbecues. If you again, if you're lucky enough to have a barbecue outside, don't always leave it to last minute to go and buy your coal from the Mercadona or Chinese shop, because that's just rubbish coal. There's this coal called Carbon de Encina. I'm going to put the note below what that is. It's oak coal. It normally comes in 30 kilo bags. You can buy it all over Spain, and it lasts for an awful long time, and it's the best coal to cook on. And if you can combine it with a little bit of olive wood, even better. Now, not everybody has the space to do that, but if you do live in the country and you have a chimney, try asking the person who delivers your wood for you if they've got Carbon de Encina. It gets stacked up, because last year I struggled in the summer to get any, which was a bit of a disaster, because I love a good barbecue. So remember, Carbon de Encina. That's the good coals, and that also mixes nicely with any of the wood you'd use for your chimney in the winter to give the food a lovely flavour. Evidently, if you've got a gas barbecue, then you won't need that, and you'll never have problems getting gas bottles. But you won't have nobody has the luxury of having a coal one. It's not always permitted in certain areas. So yeah, gas pump. Next thing I was talking about is cars. So this time of year, what do we need to prepare with our car? Well, one thing is you should have got your road tax by now. If you haven't paid your road tax coming into May, the likelihood is that you haven't received a letter. So you need to be paying that. Normally it means a trip down to your local town hall's tax department, depending on where you are in Spain. Here in Malaga, for example, we have what we call Patronato de Recaudación. So Patronato de Recaudación is the tax office. It's one of the tax offices which deals with local taxes and manages taxes for the town halls as well, which is really good because it means that we can go into any of these offices for most of the towns in Malaga and actually pull off a copy of the road tax. Not all town halls work with Patronato. Places like Mijas, Figueroa, Albinao Grande, they work independently. But yeah, if you haven't paid your road tax so far, that will need to be paid now. So go find your road tax. Preparing your car for summer. Again, don't leave it till the last minute. I've just tried to book the Upsticks drive car in, which I'm in today, in for its full summer service or full service. It hasn't had one since it's arrived in Spain, and it's done a few kilometres now. Obviously it's been driven over from the UK. We registered it here, but we are coming up to summer and the temperatures drastically change, and it's a good idea to have a service on your car just to make sure that everything is going to be running fine, that your levels are topped up. I know a lot of people are handy with cars themselves anyway, aren't they? But if you had planned on doing a service, getting your tyres checked, remember, because we're coming up to the hot weather in Spain, it's not always the wear on the underside of the tyre you have to be wary of. It's the side walls and stuff which perish because of the heat. Okay, so make sure you get your tyres checked as well. But if you are going to be getting a full service on your car, getting it ready, it's always a good idea to have good filters in your car so it breathes well during the hotter months. I'm not particularly mechanical myself, believe it or not, but this is what the garage tells me. I've already gone and booked mine in, and I didn't have an appointment until the 15th of May, and it's now late April, so you don't want to leave it till the end of May. You'll be like, oof, I need to give the car a service because we've got a long trip in the summer, and find out you can't get it done till September because everybody's really busy. So definitely car tax and your road and your car servicing. I think it's a good time to time it for now. So I've sort of timed all of mine for the end of spring, beginning of summer, because you're coming out of winter, and you can still get the appointments at the garages, and it means that the car goes into summer with, as I say, fresh filters and ready for the heat that is going to besiege us. So that's the car. So kids, what about if you've got children, or we're talking maybe about grandchildren? Well, the first thing is if you've got children visiting in the summer, what are you going to be doing? Now's the time to be doing your research regarding the activities. For if you've got grandkids or kids visiting you, you're retired here, which is a demographic of an awful lot of our clients, then you need to be starting to do your research now and finding those deals to get into things like water parks. You know, in Malaga we're very fortunate to have everything from water parks, butterfly parks, you know, zoos. We've got an awful lot of activities that we can be doing here, but often on Groupon and on their websites you can find early offers which last during summer, so that's something to look at and start making your plan. Another thing to look at is the opening times, because a lot of people come in late May thinking they're going to go to a water park and they're just not. You know, they're not open, some of them, at that point. So check that out, make sure that the places you want to go are actually open. The one thing for us who are living here with kids in Spain, if you've got kids, if they go into a public school, as mine do, then you're going to start having to look at getting the paperwork ready to apply for next year's placement. So we've already had the notification that the paperwork's got to be in, I think it's sometime before the end of May, but we're getting it ready. So that for us involves jumping on the digital certificate, in downloading our what they call vida laboral, which is our work history to show that we're working. They ask for that. What they also ask for, strangely, at our school, because the children have to qualify for the after school classes depending on the job that you have, i.e. that if you are available to pick up your kids and someone's not available to pick up their kids, they get preference over the after school classes and the dinner hall. Then we have to, as self-employed people, write a letter from ourselves to ourselves, addressed to the school, if this makes sense, explaining them what our timetable is. I could write anything, couldn't I? So I'm right, which is seems to me a bit bonkers, to be honest, because I could make it up. Who knows, if I'm self-employed and finish at 1 o'clock every day and go kick back and I just want 4 hours without my kids, I just write I work till 5. Sadly that's not the case, but anyway, that's one thing we have to do. We also have to submit stuff like our tax return, because our tax return dictates whether we qualify for any discounts or the school meals and stuff like that. So yeah, you've got to start getting that paperwork ready. Also, you need to start looking at the summer camps. So we always talk about the big August shutdown. The big August shutdown, really, a lot of it derives from the kids, because the kids aren't at school, there aren't always camps. So this means that a lot of people can't actually work, physically can't work, so they have to take their holidays in August because there's nowhere to put the kids, which hence turns into what we always call the big August shutdown. So yeah, check out the summer camps. So we've checked one out already for our kids. It turns out that the school is actually running a summer camp this year, crazily cheap. The school and municipal summer camps here, from when I talk to people in the UK how much they pay for summer camps, I think ours they want €100 for the month of July for the 2 kids, which it's €25 a week for childcare from 9 till 2. It's crazy. That's now what they'll be doing there. We don't know yet, so we'll have to check that out. Even though when you go to there's the golf course close to us, which does a summer camp. Even those camps are they're a lot more expensive, obviously, but they're still only 120 a week for a child, which on a golf course, that's, believe it or not, if you got that money, you want to spend that money on childcare, that's quite cheap for a week. Plus you can choose your weeks that you go and the weeks that you don't. If you go to the municipal one or the school one, you have to have the whole month. Plus, to be honest, what they don't like is that you take that placement and then don't attend, because that's considered that somebody else who needs it could have got. So yeah, if you do go to the municipal ones, don't just use them. So I might use them today, might not use them tomorrow. Yeah, I found that out the hard way a couple of years ago, to be honest, which is quite rightly so as well. If you've paid for something, but then a couple of days the kids don't go because it's summer, they want to chill out at home, and you can work from home, then they were like, look, someone else who really needed this could have got it because there's limited places. So yeah, that's so good. Morning coffee, a plastic cup. So kids, what else we've got to talk about? Kids. Yeah, that's about it for the kids, I think. So you're going to get ready for your family coming, ready for school, and ready for the summer with the summer camps. And the last thing, and evidently we have to get sensible on the last thing, is tax returns. We're coming into tax return period now, so remember, we're just off the back of the first quarter, which means most stores, tax advisors, accountants are just off the back of a very, very busy period. And this week that we're in, which is the last week of April, is normally their cool off from that period. Okay, so that's when, you know, they're just crossing the T's and dotting the I's, tidying the desk again after the mad rush at the end of last week, because everybody, including myself, right, we try and prepare everything as much as possible. We evidently forget that we're not the only clients, you know. Oh, by the way, 3 days before it's due, there's the last of my invoices and my expenses, and they're like, oh well, cheers, there's only 100 people who have done that, you know. So if you do run a business, I would always encourage you to get your paperwork in as early as possible to your gestor or your accountant. I always try and do mine on a monthly basis before the end of the quarter, instead of just dumping it all, and that really helps. So like the end of this month, all the invoices, the expenses, everything just goes in, and then they have that prepared next month, and then even halfway through the last month of the quarter I send in stuff, and it means that when we get to that last push, it's only a little bit they've got to calculate. But now that's over with, the beginning of May, we're into tax return time, and that ends until the end of June, so you've got 2 months to your tax return. If you were a fiscal resident last year in 2023, i.e. that you spent more time enough time in Spain to become a fiscal resident, evidently take the relevant tax advice to whether you are or not a fiscal resident, then you will need to this year submit your declaración de la renta. Declaración de la renta is the Spain's tax return, and it normally involves, basically, I would never ever advise you do it yourself with Hacienda, because mistakes can be costly. Find yourself a very good accountant or a gestor or somebody who can submit this and do the assessment on your behalf. And it normally involves, and this is the honest truth, getting all the proof of all your income that you've received, whether that's interest from savings, whether that's pension income, whether that's earned income, rental income, any capital gain on a property, anything including cryptocurrency, I believe nowadays, if you've earned on that, and giving it to them so they can put it together and declare it. And what normally happens is, say in our case, we run a business, so we have personal and business finances, but being self-employed and not, on a self-employed structure with a registered trademark, it's different to have a limited company. So we just throw everything at our accountant Antonio, and that also includes the fact that if you own a property, because there's certain things you can write off if you've maintained that property. If you've got children, then your threshold goes up of what you're allowed to earn. So all of this, if you own a property, live in a second property that's rented, that all of these things, as unimportant as you feel your situation is with your accountant, it's best to start preparing it all and just write it all down on a bit of paper. What I would have would be income, expenses and others. What you might think isn't important might be worth saying to them, you know, because they might find a way and say, oh, that actually is relevant, because that means that your threshold of what you can own goes up. That all goes into your accountant. As I said, they put it into the system and it comes up with a magic figure which either gives you tax back or means you have to pay tax. Once that figure is on the table, if you are getting tax back, then don't hold your breath. You can submit that return, and the taxman may or may not pay you sometime before December, at the end of the year. If they don't pay you for December, then there is a little bit of interest on their behalf to pay. Now, my experience with this is really random. So we never really normally get tax back, but in the times that we have done in the past, and my friends who have had tax back in the past, some of them got it within 2 weeks, and some of them have had to wait until December to get there. So it's a little bit random, really, as to when they do pay your tax back. If that's the case, if you're paying tax, but no, this is different. This is very efficient. You have the choice to either pay it in one lump. You can pay it in 2 installments. You can request, I believe, to pay it in more fractioned payments with an interest on it. But once you hit that button, that is done straight away, very much like the quarterly returns done with businesses. So quarterly returns with a business, when your accountant comes back to you and says, right, okay, this quarter you've got to pay this much in retentions and tax and this much in VAT, then the moment they hit that button, that comes out of your account. That's it. Unless you apply for a fraction tax payment, and then after about 2 or 3 days they'll come back to you and tell you if that's been approved or not. So that is basically it. That's just a little bit of a video. I'm in Antiquera now. I thought I'd get that off my chest. Hopefully there's been some good advice in there. If you have got any experience with what you actually prepare yourself coming into summer, that would be absolutely fantastic. Please let me know. It would be great just to try and get other people's experiences there. As I say, this is very much derived from conversations that we have in the office, I have at home with my wife, and I thought it'd be great to get this info out there. But if you've got any other points, just let me know, because it's all about also knowing what other people are up to in Spain, how they structure their lives in Spain, because ultimately that's going to help people who are moving over, which is the name of the game for this channel, to be honest. So there we go. Thanks for watching. If you like the channel, please subscribe. And we just turned up in a beautiful town